You may be thinking to yourself, Kelly, Independence Day was yesterday. And to that you'd be right. It was. But today, there's another kind of independence that's going to be taking place. You see, I've had this really unhealthy relationship going on, and I think it's time that I get out from underneath the pile and the stress and the strain. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to make my own declaration of independence. Today, you're tuning in to me making my declaration of independence from my TBR pile on NetGalley. Hi, thanks for stopping by. My name's Kelly, if you don't already know, and this is my channel, Let Me Take a Shelfie. I discovered NetGalley a few years back, and it was probably one of the most amazing things that I have ever discovered. Because I'm a teacher, I can apply to publishers, ask them for pre-publication copies, also called galleys, digitally, and all I have to do is review them and exchange, which is awesome because I like to read things and I like to have recommendations to give kids when they need to read things, so it's perfect. However, the problem with it being digital is you don't realize how large your TBR stack is getting until you're like months behind, like in my case. My digital TBR stack is so huge. It's ridiculous. It's just not healthy, and I need to get it done because I want to be able to continue to receive these, and that means that I have to be reviewing them. So here's my declaration. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take part in a reading challenge in order to get through my ginormous TBR. So the challenge that I've chosen to use is actually a year-long challenge. It's called the Alphabet Soup Challenge, and it was created by a blog whose name I forgot. And I will link it below in case you want to join or if you're interested in looking into it yourself. But it's called the Alphabet Soup Challenge because your job is to pick a book for every letter of the alphabet and read each book for that letter. Which means that by the end of this challenge, I should have read 26 books. Now, the thing about this challenge is it's meant to take an entire year. And I'm starting it in July. But it'll be okay. We'll make it through. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I would really like to go over my TBR for this challenge with you, walk through the 26 books that I tentatively have scheduled for my challenge so that you can hold me accountable. Because I need to read these, guys. I really need to read these, and I apparently am not strong enough to do it on my own. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get into the actual challenge. And if, like I said, this interests you at all, please join me. That would be fantastic. Because I did get these books on NetGalley, they are digital copies, which means I don't have many of them here today. So I was able to fill out, I think, all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the rest I'm just going to pull up an image of the cover. I do apologize for that, but because some of them haven't been published yet, well, I can't really do anything about that. We're going to start with A. And for A, I'm going to be reading Aftercare Instructions by Bonnie Pipkin. For B, I'm going to be reading Beautiful Broken Girls by Kim Savage. I've read another book by Kim Savage that I really liked called After the Woods. You should check it out if you like thrillers. For C, I'm going to be reading Caraval by Stephanie Garber. For D, I'm going to be reading Definitions of Indefinable Things by Whitney Taylor. For E, I'm going to be reading The Edge of Everything by Jeff Giles. Alternatively, I might throw in Ever the Hunted by Erin Summerhill. For F, I'm going to be reading Follow Me Back by A.V. Geiger. For G, I'm going to be reading Grendel's Guide to Love and War by A.E. Kaplan. For H, I'm going to be reading The 100 Lies of Lizzie Lovett by Chelsea Sidoti. For I, I'm going to be reading It Started With Goodbye by Christina June. For J, I'm going to be reading Jess Chunk and The Road Trip to Infinity by Kristen Elizabeth Clark. For K, I have a hard copy version of this, and that is Kids of Appetite by David Arnold. This is the same author who wrote Mosquito Land. For L, I'm going to be reading The List by Patricia Ford. For M, I'm going to be reading Mask of Shadows by Lindsay Miller. For N, I'm going to be reading Now I Rise by Kirsten White. This is a sequel, and I'm also going to be reading And I Darken, the first in that series. For O, I'm going to be reading The Other F Word by Natasha Friend. For P, I'm going to be reading Perfect by Cecilia Ahern. I believe she traditionally writes adult fiction, but this was her YA fiction. It is also a sequel, and I will also be reading Flawed, the first in that currently duology. For Q, I will be reading another one from my solid TBR shelf. That is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, or Johansson, I'm not sure which it is. For R, I'm going to be reading Roseblood by A.G. Howard. For S, I'm going to be reading Stranger Things Have Never Happened by Jeff Strand. For T, I'm going to be reading Things I Should Have Known by Claire Lazebnik. For U, I'm going to be reading Ultimatum by K.M. Walton. For V, yet another off of my solid TBR shelf. This one might be familiar to some of you, and that is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. For W, I'm going to be reading We Come Apart by Sarah Crossan and Brian Connigan. I couldn't find an X on my NetGalley shelf, so I am going to be reading one that I again got as an ARC at NCTE, because being a teacher of English is awesome, and this is by Ilyasha Shabazz and Kekla Magoon. And if I didn't say, the title's called X, if you couldn't tell by the giant white X. For Y, I'm going to be reading You Were Here by Corey McCarthy. And last but not least, for Z, I'm going to be taking from my solid shelf, because there wasn't one that started with Z on my NetGalley shelf, and that is going to be The Zodiac Legacy, which is co-authored by Stan Lee, who is famous, if you like comic books, Stuart Moore, and Andy Tom. So that right there is my list of all 26 books that I want to read. If I discover that I don't like any of these while I'm reading them, I might swap it out for something else. Please don't hate me, but this is what I'm trying to keep to at the moment. It's 26 books. I chose as many as I could from my NetGalley shelves. So this is my declaration of independence from my late to review TBR shelf. I want to get this done. I'm going to get this done. I have 6 months left in this year, and this will be happening. My plan of attack is going to be read book, review book, post review, move to next book. That is what's going to happen. So you can expect to see a review for these books. That's 26 reviews. That's a ton of videos. I don't know how I'm going to do it. There's 26 weeks left in the year. It'll probably be a review a week. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up with that. If you want to do this with me, please do this with me. Let me know down below. If you're already doing the Alphabet Soup Challenge, please let me know that as well. We can keep each other in check, help each other, give each other some pats on the back and positive persuasion to keep doing what we need to do. Because, you know, peer pressure works, guys. It does. So that's all I got for you. So happy belated 4th of July, Independence Day. Hopefully you guys will come up with your own plans of becoming independent from your TBR shelves, and thanks for tuning in to mine. Goodbye! This week's it'll probably...